We don't like to show works in progress. We're perfectionists. We like to be known for Blizzard polish and things looking really nice and beautiful. We like to show you things like the Blizzard World trailer that we showed yesterday, where everything looks awesome. You are now about to see what the game looks like when we're making it, and it's pretty ugly.
Yeah, the art team's gonna kill us for
Yeah. So we're gonna show you a series of videos of what Overwatch looked like throughout the making. And the first one we're going to start with is a tech reboot video of the technical work we're doing. So let's go ahead and roll that video, and I'm going to talk over what you're seeing. Okay, so this is the first time we rendered anything in the engine. Again, it was a proprietary engine made from scratch. This is Tracer in October 2013, her little Mickey Mouse hands. We were unable to put guns in her hands, so she had to shoot laser beams out of her eyes. To simulate shooting. We had no visual effects. We were playing around with environmental lighting, as you can see. This is the very first playtest of Overwatch, ran by our assistant game director, Aaron Keller. The point of this playtest was to make sure that the scale, FOV, camera height was correct. All we had was Tracer. You can see that Widowmaker-looking Tracer over there, which is just Tracer with a Widowmaker skin. This is our physics programmer, Aaron Cotto, was getting the Blizzard physics engine working within the Overwatch engine for the first time. So you can have things like the crates and vases on Temple of Anubis breaking and moving. You saw Recall for the first time. Tracer doesn't have any visual effects on her guns. And then there's little nuanced things that you don't think about having to work on, but like when you walk up and down stairs, how much does the camera bump or smooth through? All right, so you can see early Temple of Anubis. Tracer doesn't have all our textures, but we're getting things like Recall in there.
Yeah, the Reaper's T-pose all over. We use the Reaper for scale sometimes. Early on, we're still figuring out how to scale our buildings properly. Sometimes we forget to delete the Reaper.
Yeah, so you just have Reapers all over. This is literally the first play test ever with Farah in it. The first day she was in, you can see how slow her rockets are shooting.
You barely see it without the trail view.
There's no visual effects there.
Here's an early animation prototype for Tracer. We're still getting the hang of getting the third person. Her head is just bobbing wildly, which made headshots really hard. So we took a lot of iterations to get just the right amount of movement.
All right, so we're moving along, and this is interesting because we came back in January of 2014, and now the game was starting to be fun. I mean, granted, it was only Tracer versus Tracer, so all you No Limits fans would have loved it back then, and Tracer mains. But the game was actually fun, and you can kind of see Temple of Anubis is really taking shape now in terms of level design. We play the levels just blocked out in gray blocks like that, and then we were really proud. This is just 24 days later. You can see the progress that was made. And the whole time here, the UI is evolving. The game mode is starting to work. Like, we actually have capture points that you can stand on. And more and more is coming together. Early health pack, as silly as that looked. You can see the Temple of Anubis was open. Now, here's Reapers in the game. Now, you're going to see the world's coolest Death Blossom animation is coming up right here.
Greatest animation.
Wait for it. There it is. And this is what the game looks like to us when we're making it.
These muzzle flashers are these giant
Farah's
balls.
rocket launcher is making some progress, but it's going to look different. We decided she's blue now. Like, I remember that whole meeting at your desk for what color Farah should be. We're getting Widowmaker's grappling hook working. And then we're learning things like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be able to get up there in Temple of Anubis. Maybe that's not such a good place for Widowmaker. This is also, I'm sorry to admit, this is some of the worst sniping you're ever going to see, and this was me. And like somebody said, like, oh, at least you finished him off. I'm like, I didn't finish him off. Somebody else finished him off. I didn't even hit him. And then by February, we're like now getting really close to our March milestone.
Yeah, the lighting's starting to come in here with all the stuff we were doing with the new engine, and it's just started looking so beautiful. Temple of Anubis started to come to life.
And like the UI is evolving now. You can see we're getting like a character portrait there, an ultimate. Widowmaker's ultimate used to just put little marks above everybody's head because we couldn't yet render the silhouettes through the walls. That would come later. We're going to start with Hanzo right here. You're going to see the earliest versions of Hanzo in this video. Check it out. So a designer by the name of Mike Heiberg was the guy who implemented Hanzo. And the first thing we just worried about was getting the bow to feel good. Then we worked on things like Sonic Arrow, so he's hiding Widowmaker right there, and we're throwing the Sonic Arrow, and again, we can't render the silhouettes through the walls just yet. And then everybody's favorite ability, Scatter Arrow, being worked on right here. And back then it was just called Ricochet Shot, but getting the physics to work. And then we were working on this ability called Dragon Strike that was going to be a moving area of effect that does damage. And so for us to do that, we rendered these spheres. Mike Heiberg rendered these spheres, and it quickly became known as the Caterpillar. And you can see it, there it is.
The googly eyes.
And he put googly eyes on it on the other side. So that was Dragon Strike, and then it wasn't even animated for a while. You'll see now we have a dragon.
Yeah, so this version is just moving in space, and here's an early animation test by our animator Jesse Daves. And at this point we were like, this is really cool, but it's so different from the big caterpillar. It doesn't fill that same hitbox.
You couldn't tell if you were in it or not.
Yeah, like could you dodge it if if it just moves the right way?
Because of course Torb's gonna throw it in front of Torb, and here's early animations on Torbjorn. Like it looks pretty ghetto. And then Torb trying to find just that perfect spot. Temple of Anubis choke in the early days. And now watch what happens as our heroes come through. Oh, that's Reinhardt throwing his hammer. Ryan didn't make it. Maybe Tracer can make it through. Nope. She's not getting through. Maybe Widowmaker. She's clawed and she's done. So you just put the claw in front. Watch. Now Reinhardt can think maybe charge will get me past the claw trap. No. Oh, poor Reinhardt. I like he's just like deer in a headlights. He doesn't even try to swing or anything. So this was, I think, literally the first Mercy gameplay that you're ever going to see. Early Reinhardt with his shield. Mercy got rezzed.
You'll notice early on, Mercy's healing was green instead of yellow, and we're kind of mixing the colors, and we really needed to decide what healing color would be. Would it be yellow or green? And I think we saved green for poison eventually.
Yep. And then King's Row looked like, all block out. This is early Robot City in King's Row, the final point. You can see how open it used to be. We had a couple problems there. One was sightlines, and then the other was people like me falling in the pit like idiots.
Ragdoll physics.
So that happened a lot. Early Reinhardt charge. Poor Torbjorn.
You used to have no startup time. You'd press the button and you'd instantly...
Yeah, you'll see him run too, I think right here.
Yeah.
There it is. It looks awesome. Show it at BlizzCon. And then we didn't have a payload, so we had this truck, and then we didn't have art for the icon, so we used the Doge. He's there. You just... Maybe if we switch back to that icon, people would actually
what's that?
be attracted to it in some way. So you can see, and then we're doing all this stuff of like making the Reinhardt hammer feel good.
Yeah. Here's some early technology we're trying to get for Mercy's ribbon to work, and interestingly, one of her ults back then was to actually heal multiple people.
Yeah, heal multiple people.
It kind of
comes full circle.
Yeah.
The payload's evolving. You can see all the iterations of Reinhardt's shield in these early ones.
This is before we had like the nice shader for Reinhardt's shield.
This is actually Winston. You might think you're looking at a ferret. This is the first Winston playtest. So his leap ability used to be like Doomfist's alternate leap ability, and then he didn't have animation, so he just ran around like a dude. You see him Winston just running around.
Yeah. If you notice the targeting thing, right in the middle, there's like a banana.
Yeah. See the banana right there. So that was Winston's, and he would just run around. He got killed by Tim right there.
Awesome death pose.
One of my favorite clips is coming up right here. So this is actually Volskaya Industries. We've talked about this before, where we prototype different map types. So Aaron Keller, our assistant game director, had this idea of what if we had a giant capture point that you could play on that was also a payload moving through the map. So we were doing all sorts of iteration on new game modes at this time too. Ultimately, this idea failed because of the space required to move something as big as a capture point through it. Required sight lines that were untenable. This is the earliest version of Hanamura that you're seeing in very early blockout. Tracer's facing like where the arcade would be right now. And then I love the hero select. You can see what hero select looked like back in the day.
Early load screen for Temple of Anubis. Oh man, Winston, this is like the...
Cool guy Hanzo.
Those are actually Reaper's animations on Hanzo.
Old Widowmaker face. This pose. My favorite's Mercy. Mercy's coming up. She's angry. She's like, you're going to nerf me in 2017. I'm angry. I'm not... Too soon. Too soon. We're moving on.
That bus in King's Row went through so many iterations just to get the right shape. Oh,
Bastion, his
yeah.
first day in the game. Perfect.
He's got a tracer trail on him for some reason.
It turns out transforming robot was hard. So early Hanamura, this is kind of exciting because this shows point B of Hanamura, and on point B, it used to be a totally different design. It was this circular design, and the waypoint said temple because we were just using tech from Temple of Anubis at the time. Later, Aaron Keller would go back and completely redesign that whole point. But you can really see point A is starting to look exactly like it looks today. It's very similar in Hanamura. You've got Torbjorn. He used to have a mechanic where he had to place the stub of a turret first and then build it up eventually to get the turret to be able to shoot. Nowadays, when he places the turret, it can shoot right away without him even hammering on it.
Yeah, you can see the Reinhardt, the shield effects coming in there.
Here comes the hot tub, we used to call it. The hot tub. The victory pose in the hot tub. So that's actually the origin point of the map, and we didn't have the victory point, or the victory pose point placed. This was Symmetra's early playtest.
Super ghetto temp art for Symmetra's.
Yeah, they're little Torbjorn turrets that she's placing on the walls. And then we had her teleporter working. I love this clip right here because, okay, Winston is going to kill the teleporter, and then watch Hanzo. Like, not my problem. Sorry, Symmetra. That was Bastion's, one of his early ults was a volley of bouncing grenades.
Oh, there's Reinhardt's shield starting to, the shader starting to get there.
The worst Reinhardt charge ever, besides the one in the cinematic.
Yeah, there's an early animation prototype for Bastion, back when he still had that shield in front of him.
Yeah, he had the shield, and then he gets a little broken in some ways. And then Winston's early leap prototype where he used to pound the ground with his fists.
They used to do damage and stun you if you were in that range.
Yeah, it was a long stun too. It was a lot of damage and a long stun, so that had to go away. And then, like I said, characters that weren't going to be at BlizzCon, like McCree, we were having these moments where we were just getting McCree and Roadhog in the game. So you'll see these are the first moments that we got the blockout art for Roadhog and McCree in. And then a fan favorite is Genji. This is early Genji prototype on Gibraltar when he only had the Dragon Blade and he could perch, like you're seeing him do here, and then run around and murder everybody. So when people thought it was a nerf going from 8 seconds to 6 seconds on the ult, imagine it forever. Forever Dragon Blade is what Genji started out as.
So this is the final hero select that we ended up having at BlizzCon.